All right, what is up, everybody? As you can see, it's Madison Wood here with you guys tonight for the Real Spiel Postgame Show. Louisville basketball with a big win tonight over, excuse me, over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Started off a little bit, I don't know how you would put it, a little hairy, just because Notre Dame was hitting some shots. It didn't seem, right off the bat offensively that we were in the same kind of groove that we finished the SMU game in, but it came back on. The intensity and part of that, you were going to talk about it tonight. Kanai Roos was a big part of that. Once again, another double, 12 points, 12 rebounds for him tonight. Sananda Frew, I think, had a pretty nice bounce back game. But for me, I think the story of the night is Cason Pryor, for sure. We go from, he may not see the court again the rest of the year because we haven't really got a clear answer on, whether or not he's, injured or, just not performing in practice, what have you. So I definitely think that at this point, for Cason Pryor to come out after those, comments, that Pat Kelsey made in his previous press conference, and to come out and play the way that he did, and to come out and give the effort that he did and the intensity, and to make the impact on the game that he ended up making. I think it's just huge for this team. I think we already knew, just the depth aspect of it, but also the energy, that Cason Pryor plays with. He is one of those players, one of those guys that the other team just loves to hate. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest story of the night, at least for me, was Cason Pryor, getting back on the floor, not just getting back on the floor, but making a big impact in the game. Missed the only three he took, but that's not why he's out there. But yeah, we're gonna get into it a little bit. Talked about Cason Pryor, but I think tonight, looking at the box score, I'm gonna just go down the box score. Michael Brown was 6 points. Conwell had 12 points, but he was 4-14 shooting. And then you had down the line McNeely with 13, Frew with 12, Pryor with 10, Ruths with 12. That kind of balanced scoring, especially on an ugly night, on a time whenever, the game was kind of, it could have got out of hand. You weren't down that much. You were only down about 5 points, 5 to 8 points, I believe it was, early in the first half. But it could have got out of hand, kind of like the Virginia game did. I think Notre Dame was doing their best Virginia Tech impression, if I'm being honest. They were really, for a while there, knocking down some threes that were deep and contested, and kind of made it difficult on Louisville there for a bit. I feel like we were extending our defense pretty well. It just got kind of, when people are knocking down shots of that magnitude, it's a little bit difficult. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get see if I can get my friend Trevor on here. Give me 1 second. We're going to get Trevor Kelsey in here to talk with me a little bit about this win. I've never hosted before, so just bear with me because I'm kind of new to this program online of getting everybody and kind of adding people. I don't really, I've never done it before, so I'm trying to see how to get on here. Give me 1 second. Okay, while I wait for that to work, I sent him an invite. I'm going to send him an invite really quick. I definitely think that tonight was a really good game that the Cards needed, though, for the simple fact that we haven't. I don't think we've really won ugly this year. We've had some games that we've had to be a little more, physical in and kind of, couldn't really play our pace. But I think tonight was the first time that we really kind of we had 40 points in the paint. I think we really made it a point to like, okay, if this game is going to get mucked up and if this game is going to get mucked up and they're going to call all these fouls and, we're going to be, in the bonus or what have you, I think that it's just going to be something that from now on, that this is going to be the recipe whenever teams kind of try to muck it up and not just chuck in threes. It's going to be all right. Let's force the issue ourselves. Let's get to the basket. Let's try to draw some fouls ourselves. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get Trevor on here. I'm texting him. We're going to get his thoughts because I'm kind of interested. I'm interested especially in the different defenses that we saw yet again for Mr. Pat Kelsey. I'll never play a zone in my life. We've definitely, the last couple games especially, we've seen, a couple different types of press. We've seen zone, we've seen traps, we've seen half court, traps, in the corners, on the baseline as soon as they inbound. So I think that a lot of these defenses that we're seeing, obviously Louisville, and I mean, Pat Kelsey said it last week and we've talked about it all year. Pat Kelsey and Louisville, they don't have a whole lot of athleticism outside of Kenai Roos. I mean, Colby Rogers, he's a pretty athletic guy. But, he's a guard still, so that combination of size and athleticism kind of comes at a premium, for us this season, because it's like, you notice the difference when Kenai gets in there. I mean, just the way he flies around, like the stats are great, obviously, 12-10 last game, 12-12 this game. But the bigger impact is when you watch him on the floor and you see him in the game and you see the way he's just able to get amongst the trees and just sky for rebounds and grab them with his hands and pull them down. And especially, I think tonight there was a lot of tipping the ball on these rebounds from both sides. But like, it's like almost every time we were trying to get a rebound, it was touching 2 or 3 players' hands before somebody actually secured the basketball. So, Kenai Roos is just one of those type of guys. If he can sustain this type of, I know his energy and stuff, I think he's always going to bring that. But if he can sustain this type of efficiency, let me look at his shooting splits. He tonight was 5 for 9, 1 of 2 from 3, 1 of 3 from the free throw line, which, could be better, but he had a couple steals and an assist as well in 25 minutes. So I think that Kenai Roos, there's just, other than the fact that he's obviously an instant impact player as far as defense and as far as energy and just his versatility, if he can get that offensive side of the ball going, I mean, I think that it's something that, that's really going to take this team to another level, because if he can, he had that one play where he went back to the basket on somebody smaller than him and turned around. I think it was the and one. But, I mean, he's just a special player. He's just one of those guys that can do, especially on this team in particular, can do a lot of things that other guys can't. And I think that, when you have him healthy, and then, obviously you add the dynamic of, finally it seems like we've got Kason Pryor to come in off the bench. This team can just go to a whole nother level. And I think that it's something to be said whenever, whenever Pat Kelsey makes the comments that he made about Kason Pryor in the last press conference, for him to not only have gotten playing time this game, but for Pryor to have been playing the way he was, to go out there with that type of energy, to go out there, just giving it his all and rebounding and putting his body on the line and diving for loose balls and things like that. I mean, I think that just speaks to and we kind of get annoyed with it. But I think tonight was that kind of amalgamation of the whole culture and all that kind of stuff. I think it was just all of it together, and including, the on-court product. I think we finally saw kind of a reflection of that tonight, with just like I said, the balance, but also just the way that, Javon Hadley was a game time decision to play, and it ended up, 3 minutes into the game, he's shaking his head and going to the locker room, comes out with a back brace on, spends some time on the bike. But, it seems like we can't have nice things. Just this team cannot stay healthy for the life of them. But, hopefully he doesn't miss any significant time. But when a veteran leader like that goes down, and then you've got a guy like Kanai, who hasn't really been playing a ton of minutes, comes in, gives you 25 tonight and does what he does. Like I said, it just speaks again to, the kind of depth and stuff that you have on this team. And we can still talk about, the fact that Michael and Conwell, I think, only had 18 points combined tonight. And usually this year, when things have gotten ugly, or when it's been, Michael can't get anything going, Conwell can't score, Conwell's not shooting the ball very well. It's almost like Louisville, that we go as they go, and Louisville can't get anything going if that's the case. But that was not the case tonight. It seemed like it was the opposite. You got Zugris coming in there and giving us some good minutes. I'm going to look at his line really quick. He only had 1 point, but he had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and those assists that he had a couple really nice passes. The vision that he has, is a pretty nice addition to this team. If he could come in and continue to just, obviously he's always going to play hard. That's who he is. But I think that, at this point in time, for us coming in, it's already February, going into March, you definitely need, and you definitely want, a guy, if you can get contributions from the, 12th guy on your bench, I think you're doing pretty good. Kobe Rogers, he finally seems like, after he had a little bit of a slump, but these last couple games, he seems back to his old self. I really like the way he pushes the basketball. The way that he just, if you're not going to stop the ball, whether it's off a make, a miss, whatever, I think that, if he can continue this, it's going to be really good for us as a whole, especially going into March. You really want a backup guard that can come in and keep things steady, but can also, if they need to get theirs every now and then, they can. They take advantage of, guys not pressing up on him. Kobe's got a pretty quick first step, nice burst. So he's able to, get to the basket in certain spots. He had a couple nice times tonight where he got in there for offensive rebounds. Louisville had 15 or 16. Got it right in front of me. 16 offensive rebounds tonight. We out-rebounded them 46-35. My goodness, got a frog in my throat tonight. We out-rebounded them by a lot, and I think that, considering how last game went as well, I think, people weren't very happy with the rebounding situation, particularly from our bigs. I think what we saw from our front court in this game was really good, especially, like I said, missing Javon Hadley at the last minute. Kanai kind of getting in here last minute. Oh, there he is. It's Black. I was like, where is he? Finally got Trevor in here. I was trying to figure out how to get the link sent, but it wasn't moving for me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Okay. Well, that's probably a good thing for most people. I don't know why the camera's not working. I think I forgot. I think I was so quick to jump in here. I think I skipped over the part where I allow it to show my video. I'm gonna jump out and sign me back in. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
That's one more time. See if I don't do it right.
I got you. This is my first time hosting again, guys. I'm trying to get used to the whole computer part of it, and I'm still not super good with that part yet, so just bear with me. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what Trevor has to say again, because I think it was a good game. All right, there we go. I got you now.
There we go. Now see if I can go a little full screen here without screwing everything up. Oh yeah. Looks like
There we
Mikkel's
go.
shooting a 3 tonight over here trying to do this shit.
Yeah, I had copied the link, but then I was trying to figure out how to send it to you, and I didn't want to have a bunch of dead air not talking while I was looking at my phone. But no, I
Oh,
mean,
don't
I
worry.
definitely you watched the whole game, right? You got to see everything.
Oh yeah. I watched the
I
game.
definitely tonight I want to hear your thoughts because I think we've been waiting all year for like these little kind of flash in a pan performances to carry over to the next game, and I think we finally got some of that tonight. But I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice, especially I would like the one going a little more away, excuse me, away than we did at the end. But it's always good to get a win when you have, and I know I heard you mention it a little bit before I got to jump in, was when you have a game where Mikkel Brown and Ryan Conwell just don't play well, especially
Yeah,
offensively. Well, just about in general, both kind of struggled, and just not only offensively, but just in general, Conwell especially struggled somewhat defensively through the game. But and I don't know, for all I know, they're having more back issues, which is, I mean, with Hadley going out with the back, Mikkel back. I mean, we got to get like some mattresses or something for these motherfuckers.
yeah. Somebody
I
on
mean,
Twitter was saying
it's
we need a sponsorship already, mattress foam,
exactly. I mean, can we get some Tempur-Pedics in this in these
something.
rooms? I mean, shit. I mean, I have a new mattress, and I ain't worth shit. So, but that being said, yeah, but again, it's also Notre Dame, and it's kind of we said in the show on Monday. This is a team that's scrappy. I've always been a fan of Shrewsbury as a coach. I think the point is that he just doesn't have the horses right now at Notre Dame. I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah.
He's got. I mean, but they are a scrappy team, and as when we talked about our predictions, said that this was a team that if you don't, if you're going to take them lightly, they're gonna bite you in the ass, and we'll try to do that a little bit throughout the game. I I didn't realize Hadley. It was after halftime though. I realized Hadley was out because of injury, but because it was weird to me because this is the type of game that these are matchups he could actually play well in. I mean, this is not a big
Exactly.
team at all. But because of them going out, you got to see Pryor, which I know the Louisville fan base has been loving that. Got to see
He had
that.
a really good game.
Got to play really well. I thought he did too. And so did Ali, and so did Farouk. I mean, Roman's not going to join us now because Farouk looked good, and he don't want to eat he don't want me to make him eat crow for it. But I also said going into the show last on Monday that I predicted a double for Rue. He fell short in rebounds, but Rue's got the double. We got another back-to-back good game out of him.
Farouk had 3 blocks.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, Farouk was out there looking like he was Alonzo Mourning. But I just not to just be overhyped. I just listen. We were 17.5 point favorites, so we didn't cover. We'd only covered that barely at one point when we were up, I think 19 or 20, and then we ended up winning by 11, I think. But again, it's a good win when you can get the contributions we got in the matchup, because this was a game where those guys should be able to contribute, and that those guys being Pryor, Ali. I mean, look at Ali even out there on the low post doing a nice little Hakeem little shake and bake, making himself look good on the low post. Farouk trying to do some post moves, looking like me when I was in like St. Matthew's Little League trying to do post moves, just awkward and just weird. And and obviously Pryor taking advantage of the size. It's a team that had nobody really that big. I think their biggest guy is like 6'8", 6'9". So it was something that it was good to see, because we could have easily played like not contributed. Those guys played well, and the way Conwell and Brown played, we'd have lost this game. I mean, plain and simple. So for them to step up in the absence of those two guards, to do guys that are going to carry us more often than not, it's a good sign. And in a game where you're supposed to do it, kind of like I always like to say, like some of the steps on a team improving is one of those first steps is you start beating the teams you're supposed to,
Yeah.
and you start performing and having the kind of games those guys had. They all played well in certain moments, and even Z-Man. I don't mean to leave him out as well. I love after he got caught for a foul, he did the Catholic crossing. I didn't get that
so
part.
funny.
I don't know why he did that, but I was like, cool. But so yeah, it's a positive. And then, coming up, not to look ahead, but Saturday's another game where it's a team that they should be able to contribute in, because Wake Forest is not very big either. I don't think they have anybody over 6'8" on the roster. So I mean, they don't play defense very well, and they don't rebound very well. So.
Yeah,
Neither do we on most cases, but that's no
most cases. I think Louisville's defense tonight was actually really good, especially in spots when we were pressing and trapping, forcing them into really tough shots, forcing them to speed them up, and and they were turning the ball over, they were traveling, they were doing different things. I think that to see that kind of defensive intensity carry over is really nice, because I think the play of the night, and it's been tweeted several times, but I think the play of the night for me was that block that Frew got, and then they pushed it in transition, and McNeely hit that three. I think that right there is kind of the culmination of what Pat Kelsey wants to do here. I think that is Pat Kelsey's system. You're gonna shoot transition threes. It's free, it's fun, it's ball movement. I mean, we ended up with after that first half where it kind of might have looked like we might start becoming turnover machines again, finished the game with only 12, and we had 19 assists. And all year, that's been a really good recipe. I wanted real quick though, because it's kind of been an up and down year for him. But Adrian Woolley, he didn't shoot super well tonight. He was 3 for 9. But what do you think about him? Because I thought he played his butt off tonight.
I've enjoyed. I said this about Woolley when we got him. He kind of reminds me with Terrence Edwards last year, of a guy who he's going to have to adjust playing at a different level day to day. Like Kennesaw State, no disrespect to Conference USA, but I mean it's just not the same level of competition on day to day, even when you're playing Notre Dame. And I thought he's really adjusted well. I think not as quickly as much as Terrence Edwards last year, but Terrence Edwards also a senior. Willie's a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't shaking my head a second ago for anybody watching it. What you were talking about, the damn Chihuahua I've got wouldn't shut the fuck up.
I've got my dog won't shush either. I hope y'all don't hear her in the background, but
I do, but it's okay. But I got a Chihuahua and she starts going, and then that gets my other girls, my Khaleesi and Aria, my elk hounds going, and it's just all hell breaks loose. So I apologize if you hear that, and she's a whiny little thing. Never take an ex-girlfriend's dog. But you were saying, what were you? What was?
We were talking about Woolley, Adrian Woolley.
Woolley, yeah. I don't like it when he takes some of the threes he takes, because he's not a great 3-point shooter. I do love when he is aggressive in attacks, and I do love the fact that no matter how big he is, he might be our best rebounder. And that's not a good thing. It's great to have Woolley as good a rebounder as he is, but it's not a good thing he's your best. But he might be our best rebounder, especially when it comes to offensive rebounding. And yeah, I do love his contribution. I mean, when him and Rogers can contribute, we are just that much better. I don't have the stats in front of me, but what'd you say, it was 4 of 9 maybe?
He was 3 of 9, but
he
had hold on one second. He had
I didn't like the threes
rebounds.
he took. I remember every three he took, I cringed, and I don't know how many he hit, but I didn't like the threes he took. But like I said, when he's aggressive and taking it and trying to get fouled, and I wish he'd get a little more foul calls than he does, because he goes right into defenders. I think he can. Yeah, I do love his progression. It's just in this kind of world of basketball, I just hope we can have him back next year. I mean, we just don't know. We just don't know. And I mean, in the world we live in college basketball now, I mean, but we did get Bruce back, and we're definitely reaping the benefits of that. This is a side note, by the way. I'm watching the UK game here on the side. Is it me, or you've got dogs? You maybe know what I'm talking about. The Kentucky logo on the UK court, it looks like when my dogs pee on my hardwood floor. It just looks like a giant piss stain in the middle of a fucking hardwood floor. It does
look weird, yeah. I don't know why they want to do that.
And anybody who has hardwood floors and has dogs knows that stain I'm talking about right now. They're all going, oh yeah, it's like the wiggly wheel on the laundromat. Everybody knows that. It's like, oh yeah, it happens to me. I know got dogs. That's what it looks like to me. And it sucks because it's the state of Kentucky. I love my state, but it looks like a giant piss stain on the court.
It does.
Because it's Kentucky, and they look like piss stains to me.
Are they winning right now? Or
they are up by 18 right now on Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oklahoma's bad, huh? They got the same record as Notre Dame.
I love the stat. It was Oklahoma's first time playing in Rupp since 1987, which would have been Billy Tubbs and Mookie Blaylock and Stacey King and those really good Oklahoma teams that would go into the Final Four in 1988. So, and blow out Louisville, by the way, on the road to that Final Four, beat us in Sweet 16 by 30. You were lucky you weren't allowed to see that. I was
lucky.
But that's in the past, and we are here in the future. I didn't get a chance to watch Pat Kelsey's press conference.
I didn't either.
So I don't know what he talked about. Hadley, I wouldn't expect, if he didn't come back in this game, I would think he won't play on Saturday. And if he's not going to play on Saturday, he's probably not going to play on Monday, depending on how bad it is. But Saturday is a matchup game that he could he can play in if he's healthy enough. But it's a game though, like this one and similar, that I would not have a problem with seeing. Uh, getting the rotation of minutes out of everybody that we did, with it being our 5 big guys, which is that's it. Okay, we got Rooks, we've got Pryor, we've got Ali, we've got
True.
Frew, and we've got Z-Man. So 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Our 5 guys rotate 2 spots. So this would be a game to do that again and maybe get some confidence, especially going with Roos. Question is, I mean, with Hadley's not starting, Hadley's healthy, he starts regardless over Roos to me. If he's
Right.
not going to play, doesn't mean he's not going to get more minutes, but I've always just said I think Roos better off the bench. Do you start Roos maybe in this game against Wake Forest? Sadly, or do you? I mean, want the confidence now of him coming off the bench? I mean, do you start? I don't know. I mean, who would you
That's
start over
always what I
Hadley?
wonder. I think if Hadley's healthy, he's a starter.
Oh yeah,
Now, my thing all year though has been, do you play him at the 3 or the 4, because he can play the 4, but he's a 3. Like he's only 6'7" on a good day. He really can back people down. He does play bigger than he is, but that's not his natural spot. I've kind of liked the way PK has used him sparingly, but I think she use him more in kind of a point forwardy type role, where he's kind of brought the ball up and kind of been the initiator at the top of the key, sometimes on offense, and then sometimes he gets free on the wing and he can kind of initiate. He can pass out of the post and things like that. But I think that Javon Hadley, he's definitely a starter. If it were me, I would start Michael, Conwell, Hadley at the 3, Kanai at the 4, and Fruit at the 5. That's just what I would run. But I mean,
well,
you
Pat
talk about it.
Kelsey's offense is going. He wants to run 3 guards, so you're not
Yeah,
gonna
off the bench though, I wonder too. Some guys have a different
you,
energy off the bench than they do starting. So
you're right.
do you
But
wanna
with
try to risk
Hadley,
that?
Hadley's always going to kind of be starting in the 4. I know everyone Louisville fans wish he's on the 3, but I don't know if you've heard me say this. I love the old saying, wish in one hand, shit in the other, so it fills up
Yeah, and see which
first.
one fills up first.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're going to get with Hadley playing a 3, because Kelsey wants to run a 3 guard rotation, and that's just what he wants. That's how he wants to do. And Hadley, I know, will play the 3 occasionally in some matchups, but I mean, even his size, I know he's undersized, but he can still play the 4 in college basketball, I think. And you want him kind of be able to spread the court out and be able to open up the lane and bring that 4 out. And even though he's not the greatest 3-point shooter, but
Yeah.
and if you run him in a 3, the plus is that you can get a good, maybe a matchup where he can overpower a guy on the low block
Hmm.
and take advantage of that at him at the 3. But I just defensively, I don't know. I feel like he is just a natural 4, but in a 3's body. Like Homer
You
Simpson
could
used to
be
say, I'm a
right.
fat. Homer Simpson used to say, I'm a fat man living in an obese body. It's or obese man living in a fat man's body. That's why I screwed that one up. But that's how Hadley is. He's a power forward, but he's living in a small forward's body, and it's just
Yeah.
it's who he is, unfortunately. But you know what? I'm okay with him starting and the starting lineup we do with Frew, Hadley, McNeely, yada yada. It's fine with me. But if Hadley isn't going to play, that's where I'm kind of like, okay, do we? I mean, if it's going to be like if Pat Kelsey, like I said, I didn't listen to his press conference, so I'd love to. I need to go back and listen to it. But if he's going to go by the mantra that you earn your minutes, it's hard to say why not start Pryor in this game against Wake Forest. I mean, I feel like I know. I mean, you can say Roos obviously earned it as well, but I just feel like Roos is better come off the bench, but then maybe than his Pryor. I mean, they both. I mean, they both been kind of guys that feel like the microwave off the bench kind of energy guy you like to have, but then you also have Z-Man doing that. I mean, so I don't know. Maybe you go extra big and go Twin Towers with Ali and Frew to start right off the bat.
Maybe.
Like
I
I
mean,
said,
you
this
could
is a
try a
Wake
few
Forest
different
team that's not
things.
a very big team, and he's done that lineup occasionally, just not very often.
Yeah, I think the two big thing, because you can do different combinations too. Like there was a point tonight where it was like Kaysen was in there with Frew, or Kaysen was in there with Ali, or you had Zugris in there with Kaysen at one point. So I mean, there's a bunch of different options, depending on kind of, I guess it'd be more so on how you want to run how you're running your offense, at the time, and how the pace of the game is going. This one tonight, and that's why I feel like, I said at the beginning, I feel like the Cards kind of needed one like this, because, I mean, Notre Dame, they beat Virginia. I mean, it was 2 overtimes, but they beat Virginia. I
Right.
mean,
And they're a
Virginia's
scrappy team. They've
yeah,
got a good
they're a
team. I
scrappy
mean,
team,
they're
and they've
just,
got some guys. I mean, they were doing their best Virginia Tech impression. I said it earlier. They shot
yeah.
41% from three. It wasn't 50, but I mean, they went through a time. I mean, they were hitting some logo threes. I mean, that were contested, ones that were just. I mean, I couldn't believe some of them that were going in. But I think overall, tonight, I think, like I said, was the first time that we really kind of were able to capture what we did, well in that last game and really carry it over to the next opponent, which is obviously, especially at this time of year, really what you want to see. But I think that particularly this year's Louisville team been so reliant on guys like Michael and guys like Conwell and stuff. I think it's just really good to have a game where you have to rely on everyone else, where everyone else that normally, you know, isn't really, getting a lot of playing time or isn't, really contributing a whole lot, they do come out and they contribute for you, and they help, push it on a run or whatever. That in the beginning is all Case and Pryor was really doing. He grabbed a couple rebounds and he pushed. He was just really, aggressive on defense and helped force a couple turnovers and things. But then, obviously he started hitting. He hit a couple shots, which was great, But I think that just the effort and the intensity, especially from our front court that we saw today, was just really nice. Because again, Frew finished with 12-5, which, like I said, I think is a nice bounce back from the last couple games that he's had. But defensively, he had 3 blocks. I mean, the dude was playing really, really well on defense. So that to me is the bigger thing, because I think Frew's offense is kind of gonna come, as the time continues to go on. I don't think that what we saw out of him, these last couple games is what we're going to continue to see out of him. I think it was a nice response tonight, but there was a funny point in the game. I don't know if you noticed it, but Michael hit him on the roll, and there was literally nobody there to defend the rim. Like it was wide open, and he caught the ball. And like when he first turned, I was like worried for a second because I thought he was going to travel or something. But it's like he wasn't expecting to be so open, so he literally already had it, looking like he had it in one hand, ready to like float it up. And instead, he realized like, oh, I'm wide open, and grabbed it with both hands and went up and dunked it. And I'm like, you should have been ready to turn around and dunk it anyway, whether somebody was
He
there or
passed it
not.
out a couple times. I wish he'd gone up with it too.
Yeah, there's a couple times, but
and
he, like I said, I think it's a nice bounce back.
now one of them did result, I think, in the combo 3, out of the ball rotation when it was all said and done. But
Very nice.
I still I'd rather see him. I mean, obviously Pat Kelsey watches Real Spiel because I mean, he's a Kelsey lover like I am. And we talked about some Monday where I wanted to, Louisville needed to get him in ball rotation and get him moving downhill, get him the ball, and that's what he's effective offensively. That's what they did against Notre Dame. And I love the fact that Louisville did that. They didn't just go with just settling for the threes. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we shot our fair share of threes.
We were 7 of 31, and I think that's a big thing too. Is these other games where we kind of missed a bunch of threes, we've ended up losing. And tonight we only shot 23%, and we still, were able to win the game going away. I think that's saying something too.
And I think it's a lot because again, it helps that because when you have games where Conwell and Brown play kind of poorly, Conwell kind of when he's taking it to the rim, he was very effective. He just
tonight,
knocked down the 3-point shot, and Mikael Brown just couldn't do anything tonight. I mean, whether it was a layup or, I mean, he had a couple moments, but I don't know. He's just having one of those games. I mean, he's going to have it. It's just what happens when you're a freshman. Even if you are going to be a top 5 pick or top 10 pick, whatever it's going to be. It's going to happen. You just have games like that, and and like you said, it's very, I don't want to say fortunate, but good that we can have those, because you have those type of game out of Conwell and Mikael Brown against North Carolina or Virginia or Duke, you get your ass kicked. No, I mean the others aren't going to be able to pick that much up. You need those guys to step up. But in games like Notre Dame, possibly coming up Wake Forest, maybe even NC State, you can have maybe a bad game out of one or both, and if the others can do what they did and be aggressive and be effective, which includes Isaac McNeely as well, who had I think like 14 points or something tonight, hit 4 of 8 I think from the outside. But you can win that game, and you should win that game. I mean, now obviously Conwell or Brown, either one of them have a decent game or close to what they do normally, we win that game probably by 20 points and cover. But they didn't. But we didn't need it, and that's a good thing. And it's hopefully we get that out of your system, and a game's perfect game for them to have those games. But I don't get too excited with Frew with 3 blocks and what he. I mean, I get excited for that against Wake Forest as well because he should have this type of game against Wake Forest. I don't know if Pryor will. I think Roos should and will have this kind of game against Wake Forest as well on Saturday, even on the road. But we got to see. I mean, I'm not trying to be the negative Nancy or whatever, even though that's my mom's name. I want to see it in in real competition against real competition. No disrespect to Coach Forbes and Wake Forest or Coach Shrewsbury and Notre Dame. I mean, oh God, Notre Dame got technical because they didn't put a guy in a score on the scores book. I mean, that's the type of shit I used to see when I did the scoreboard at Wagner. Okay, you don't see shit like even Dennis Scott was making fun of him on the broadcast for it, and rightfully so. I mean, that's just that's pure how Notre Dame's season's gone, but how Shrewsbury's tenure's been there the last couple of years. But that's what you should do, and Louisville did it. So it's I'm glad these are the games Louisville fans can get really pumped up and excited. We just got to keep doing it, keep that excitement going, so we don't start heading to the heading our George Bailey asses to the bridge as soon as NC State beats us on Monday.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun one. I can't wait. I think there's sometimes though, no matter like who the competition is, you can still take away positives from certain things just because it's like I think especially when you talk about things like effort and intensity and things that are lacking of that nature. I think when you see the type of effort and intensity that we had the second half of last game carry over to this game, you see the attacking the paint, the relentless effort of trying to rebound the ball. You see Kanai string together back-to-back double-doubles. I think that things like that are just, we've been begging all season to see, like, okay, we got a ton of questions, but we say, oh, okay, one of them was, can Kanai put together a performance in back-to-back games? He did it. Can the team step up whenever Conwell and Mike Keller down? They did.
And what Roos did wasn't just like scoring you just out of transition. I mean, he had some nice couple post move games.
Yeah.
You even saw going to Ali on the post. He had the one nice little post move.
Ali Khalifa did a spin move in the post and put the layup in the bucket. Well, it was crazy. I thought
the benefit of having a 6'7" white kid guarding you, but yeah,
I know. But even then, he passes up wide open layups. I was like, "There's no way," and he absolutely did.
Even that, I mean, normally we see Ali obviously going out of the high post and running the offense that way through him, but I mean, they even did it they got him on the low block and he had a nice cut. I think it was to Conwell, I believe. It might have been Conwell or Rogers. I can't remember now who it was. He got a nice cut to it. I think it was Conwell.
I think it was Conwell.
But that was out of the low block opposed to being on the top of the key. So I like to, again, and this is the game coming up again. Is another game I'm hoping to see a lot. I mean, this was a game Louisville could have easily just been, run their kind of normal offense and just shoot a lot of threes and be as perimeter heavy as they normally are. Not that they didn't shoot, as you mentioned, a fair share of threes, but they were also more aggressive going to the rim and going to the bigs on the block, whether it be out of the pick and roll, screen and roll, or whether it be just actually getting it to them on the block because of the matchup. And that's something I like to see because that's something we've, not me as much, but Louisville fans in general, I guess, have complained about, Pekosy not, adjusting or conforming, or whatever, switching to, the game plans up and yada, yada. And that's something we saw tonight. And I think you'll see it again, like I said, not to beat a dead horse or, is that you'll see it on Saturday as well. You need to let those dogs in the room with you. They clearly want in with you.
They're in. That's the thing.
On the show.
They're in. She's in. She just wants, specifically, she's in love with my mother-in-law. My dog is. She says my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's up in the kitchen right now, and she knows that she will always get something out of my mother-in-law, and she's not letting her have it right now.
I mean, that dog is going nuts.
She is not happy about it.
No, I'm not at all. I can hear her. I feel like, good Lord, like I said, with Sarah McLachlan song in the background.
Yeah, dude, and she's a pit bull anyway. So when you get the face combined with the whining, it's definitely Sarah McLachlan. We're about to hop out of here anyway. We've been on here about 40 minutes.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter just because it's better. It's better on the replay, kind of be a little more concise than like a pod or whatever would be. But
Ask any ex. I've never been known to go long anyway.
That's a nice little dad joke to fit in there before the end here. Yeah, you already given some of your thoughts on Wake. Basically kind of similar to Notre Dame, not a ton of size, should be able to have a nice game. I think this is a good nice little launching pad. I mean, the rest of our season outside of NC State's been playing better as of late. Miami's had a pretty good year, and obviously North Carolina. They obviously with Caleb Wilson and them. Those are probably the toughest games left. But I think that even those they're pretty winnable. If we continue to play the way we've played the last couple games, because just with the depth and everything coming seeming like it's coming back. Into the picture. Like I said a couple days ago, it was almost like, are we going to see Kason Pryor ever again? And tonight, he contributes a lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was double-figure scorer tonight.
Pryor, he had 12. Yeah,
10 points,
almost
5
all the
for
bigs
6.
scored double figures.
5 rebounds. And an assist. So yeah, I just think that it's a good sign going forward. Hopefully we continue, like you said, some of the things, the 2 big lineups. I'd like to continue to see the mixing it up on defense, the traps, the different types of presses, the different types of flashing a zone every now and then to kind of try to mix it up a little bit. I think that's defensively kind of who we're going to have to be. On defense is a team that kind of mixes it up and kind of just tries to keep the defense guessing a little bit, because physically, we're not really, especially, if they can get down low with somebody, 7 foot and 250 pounds. I mean, there's not much that we can do with that most of the time.
I didn't think the press was as effective tonight. I know they got the one jump ball on them, which possession arrow went to Louisville, so that's their turnover on the one with Root. I think it was the 2 bigs catching them. But short of that, I didn't think the press really worked well. That I thought they did a good job of breaking it, getting out. They didn't always take advantage of it by getting the good looks they got from it. But then again, that's just because that's 200. I mean, that's the level of competition you're going against. So. Other teams, because listen, Wake Forest can give up a lot of points, but they can also score a lot of points.
Yeah, they can get hot.
So I mean, but they've lost, I think, 8 of the last 10. They've given up, I want to say, over 45% shooting to every team they played in the last 2 months. I think the last team to shoot under 40% against them was Campbell University.
Oh dang!
I mean, they said you're going to get a high percentage. In fact, they've given up over 60. I think to 2 of the last 3 games. I might be off on that, maybe 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 4, but they've given up some high percentages the last few games.
Right. The point is, we should be able to do what we want to do.
Exactly. I guess what? To make a long story short, I feel like this could be a nice Pittsburgh road win. I'm not saying we're going by 40, but I think this team. Yeah, I think this is a game that Louisville should go in, should just handle their business, pimp slap Wake Forest, curb stomp them, whatever other phrasing you want to use for your generation. and take care of business.
And they're ready for a tough one on Monday.
Go on Tobacco Road and smoke them, is what they like to say.
And smoke them. I like that too. That's a nice one too. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm sorry for the difficulty getting you on. I told Roman, I'm sorry, I've never hosted. I'm trying to get used to all these buttons and all these different things.
I like to point out we're 1-0 with you doing post game now. So let's keep this fucking thing rolling.
I can continue. I hope the trend continues. Again, like I said. I will say last year I did when we last year was around, I think right before the Florida State game, I had said early in the year, I think this team could put together a little run, and I'd said, I think we're going to win 5 straight, and then the team ended up winning 10 straight. And I know this is not last year's team. I just, I think it's the perfect time though, because as much as better as the ACC is this year, we're at the weak point of the schedule comparatively.
There's not a team in the AC that scares me other than Duke.
Honestly, at this point,
right now, Duke has got me kind of pimped a little bit, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of just kind of please sir, may I have another one. I see them kind of come the way they've been treating us, especially in the last game in Cameron. But
yeah,
anybody else on the schedule? No, I'm not saying you couldn't lose, but anybody else on the schedule, I'm not afraid of.
Yeah,
I'm going into any game the rest of the schedule thinking Louisville should be able to not only compete in this game but win this game. And I feel like that about Duke in terms of competing. I'm just getting worried about winning.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, especially I think that I've said it before. I think Shire just there's Cal owned Rick for all those years. Shire just may have Pat Kelsey's number when it comes.
No, he's got 7. He's got 7 NBA players in his lineup.
He does, but he did make some nice adjustments. I think As far as these next couple games, I think, NC State should be a pretty tough game. Like I said, Miami's got some players. I mean, the guy I really wanted bad, Shelton Henderson, is over there in Miami. So I think that game, and then obviously the North Carolina game, those are probably the three toughest games I would say left on our schedule, just as far as star power
Right.
that we're going to go against. Carolina, particularly with size, they don't just have Caleb Wilson, who's versatile, but they also have Henry Visar. Is that his name? I can't remember. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but they have another 7-foot white boy. So yeah, I mean the rest of the schedule though, I mean it's shaping up. Like I said, we're playing the kind of the bottom tier teams now and kind of the middle tier teams, because Carolina, they've lost a couple games. It's not like they're world beaters. Just like you said, I mean
No,
Duke is
they're
really
not.
is running away with the ACC.
Yeah.
So I mean it's wide open for the rest of the season. So I think Louisville has a really good opportunity, and it's nice to you got to win ugly sometimes, and it's nice to win ugly while you've got guys like Kason Pryor and Zugris and things contributing and being a part of winning out there on the court. So hopefully it can continue. But yeah, man, again, I appreciate you coming on. I hope I did okay for
That'd be great.
time.
So we won't be here, I guess, to do a pre-Wake Forest. I'll go and tell you right now, I think Louisville wins that game by at least 20 plus. I think we roll on Wake
You
Forest.
do?
I do. I think we take this momentum and we take it into Wake Forest. I don't know what we'll do about Monday, because we'll end up doing a post game instead of a real Spiel show, I guess, since it's game by night. But what are your predictions for Wake Forest? Just Wake Forest.
Just Wake Forest. I think I'm with you. I think we could carry this momentum. I think, depending on, because for some reason it just seems, whether they're contested or not, especially the last few weeks, teams are able to knock down some shots on us, especially in the first half. They're just able to hit some threes. So maybe they keep it close with some threes in the beginning. But I think that if, especially the front court play, we can continue to get, nice contributions out of, I mean, like you said, we basically go, 5 guys rotating 2 positions. So, I wouldn't be surprised, especially with the shooting that you were talking about, those stats that you gave, talking about they give up, how much they give up. I think that, we should be able to get what we want on offense. Michael and Conwell probably have bounce back games. I think they're too good to be held down for long. And I think that we should win by probably 20.
I'd like to see Mikel have a huge game on Saturday. I'd love to see
I would really like. He had 6 assists tonight, and I think he had 3 turnovers, which is good.
Yeah, he distributing the ball. He did a decent job. There was only a couple times that I was a little upset. I wanted him to get the ball to somebody, and he didn't do it. But then again, there was a couple times he got it to Frew, and Frew instead of just laying it in, he kicked it out. So
there were a couple more he could have had.
I look forward to seeing those bigs being aggressive again, and when especially Mikel's getting them in because sometimes doesn't pass the ball as well when it comes to getting. He's not horrible, but he's not the best. He's not Mikel Brown, but then again, who is?
Yeah, you got that right. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys, everyone who tuned in. Appreciate you. And we'll be back at some point on Saturday. I don't know if it's going to be like a official post game or if we're just going to do like a
it's a noon game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a noon game. It's an early game. So
see, like noon to me is literally like it's 9 a.m. Which, by the way, that is one kind of perk about being West Coast is you can wake up at 9 in the morning and
have basketball.
or football or even NFL doesn't start till like
NFL
10 a.m.
is like 10 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is kind of one perk if you're a morning person. I am not. I live by the standard. The a.m. is for sleeping. So like noon is like my earliest I would ever wake up to begin with. So I'll make sure to try to get up on time. So because this is the type of game normally I would record and wake up at 2:30 and then watch. So can't do that if I'm going to join you on Saturday. I'll make sure to get up. And
hopefully we'll have Roman. Roman's dealing with some family stuff, and he's busy, so he's not going to be able to. He wasn't able to hop on tonight, but hopefully by Saturday we'll have him back on here. But I always appreciate having you on. Like I said again, thank you for helping me out my first time hosting. Again, thank everybody for watching and listening, and go Cards, baby.